Hey, why is your house all the way out in the suburbs like that? It takes a 40-minute drive from Jason's parents' place. Why would you live in such an inconvenient location? Could it be harassment towards me?
Uh-huh. I'm completely lost. How does my address translate to harassment against you, Hannah?
You intentionally picked a place that's difficult for me to reach, didn't you? Living alone in a large house with a spacious backyard, I figured you might feel lonely. That's why I wanted to come over and keep you company. But now, it's not so simple for me to visit.
I still feel like you come over pretty casually, though. You're here at least 3 times a month, aren't you?
All right, whatever. I'll come over again this weekend.
And tomorrow's weekend.
Yes, indeed. I've made up my mind. I'll come over around noon.
No, I'm busy tomorrow.
You're going to be at home, right?
I'm still going to be busy.
What do you mean, busy?
It's the 5th anniversary of Black Cat World, and the event starts tomorrow.
Isn't that the computer game you're hyped about? Is that the only thing you're looking forward to? You're such a nerd.
It's not like that.
Fine, whatever. You go ahead and play your game. I'll just relax in the garden. But don't forget to have some freshly baked cookies and tea ready.
Cookies and tea? I am busy. I don't have time to prepare all of that.
I'm the wife of the eldest son, you know. You, the freeloader, don't have any say.
I've moved out of my parents' house, so that's irrelevant. I'm not leeching off anyone.
I don't know what a hermit like you is blabbering about. There are plenty of people like you around. You take your privileged environment for granted. Do you even realize how fortunate you are to live comfortably in a suburban mansion? Have you ever stopped to think about it, even for a moment? You have no right to arrogantly reject me, your sister-in-law.
I don't get what you're saying.
Anyway, I'm coming over tomorrow.
Okay, I understand. I'll make time. My brother is coming with you, right?
I'm going by myself. Jason is working this weekend.
What are you planning to do here alone? If you fancy having some tea in the garden, why not do it at the park instead? I remember there's a large park close to my parents' house. It's got a pond too, really peaceful and pleasant.
You're constantly nagging. Jason is set to inherit the family's property. Eventually, it will all belong to me.
I'm not particularly concerned about the property. I've already discussed it with my brother.
Exactly. So I'm free to come and go to that mansion anytime I want to. I have free access to that mansion too.
What kind of logic is that?
No need for explanations. I'm coming over tomorrow. Make sure to have cookies and tea ready.
Okay.
Elaine, do you honestly believe you can pull this off? What have you done with Jason's property?
You were specifically asked not to enter my private space without permission, except for the living room and the bathroom. But you still went into my room without asking. Do you have some kind of medical condition where you can't help but say rude things? And this isn't my brother's property, it's my house. I don't think you have any right to complain about what I do.
I was just being honest. It's such a waste to see that beautiful house being ruined.
Ruined? What do you mean?
Don't you see? Your room's all computers and nerdy game stuff. It's such a shame for that house with a beautiful garden. Imagine sipping tea in the garden, but your room's full of nerdy stuff. Kinda kills the vibe, right? Get it together.
I'm not causing any trouble, and everything in there is stuff I need. It's even got the living room set up for guests, so it's pretty annoying to get complaints after someone barges into my private space. If you're not cool with it, could you just leave? And maybe don't come back.
What's your problem? How rude. Don't you feel bad for your parents?
My parents have nothing to do with this.
Who do you think is the reason you get to live in this house?
What have you been saying since yesterday?
I don't like you.
Wow, okay.
I'm stuck living with my in-laws, feeling cramped, while you're chilling in a big house, living the good life.
That's got nothing to do with me, right? You asked for your own space, so I moved out. Remember?
Why do I have to take your old room? It's all because you had to stick your nose where it didn't belong and got us into this whole living together mess.
Are you serious? I'm the one who got kicked out of my parents' house. My brother practically begged me, so I moved out. This living arrangement was decided by you and my brother, right?
I had to move in with him. There was no other choice. It's such a waste of money to pay rent.
So what's the problem then?
It's not fair at all. Why is it that you get the big house in the suburbs while we're stuck at your parents' house?
What do you mean, why? I moved out because I couldn't live in my parents' house anymore.
I never even knew there was a bigger house apart from your parents' house. If I had, I would have picked this house right off the bat. And hey, there's two of us here. You're just a single nerd with no marriage or romance in sight. We're planning to start a family and all that. So, it makes total sense for us to get this big house with a garden.
I'm so lost.
You're so stupid.
I must say, you, my sister-in-law, has quite the repertoire of insults.
Shut it! Just leave already. And we'll take over.
Is that what my brother would want?
I haven't talked to him yet, but I know he'll agree.
Oh, I get it now. It seems like you're going off on your own.
What? Feeling pretty confident, huh? Jason does seem to have a soft spot for you. He's just too nice. Even if you're a bit of a nerdy shut-in, being his little sister probably makes you endearing to him. But hey, I'm his wife, remember? Jason listens to me at the end of the day.
But there's no way my brother would ever tell me to leave.
We're actually thinking about getting a dog when we have a baby. Having a pet is said to be good for a child's development, you know?
I see. So what?
You're so oblivious. There's no room for a child or a garden in your parents' house. But in your house, there's plenty of space for both, right? The environment is important for raising children, you know?
Well, if you're planning on having children, why not just buy a home with a garden? This house is far from my parents' place, and I'm sure you're not happy about it, right? I don't understand why you're trying to take over my place.
Why do I need to buy it if I already have one?
Do you own one? This house doesn't belong to my brother or you.
I know it's not under his name right now, but eventually, Jason will inherit it. Honestly, this conversation is going nowhere.
You're the one who's impossible to talk to.
If you're not willing to leave on your own, that's fine with me. I'll make sure you leave. You have 3 days to clean out your stuff and vacate the house. If you don't do what I say, you'll be sorry. I've got a secret plan up my sleeve.
So, it was you, right? I step out for a day and come back to find my room empty. What's going on?
Oh, you're finally back. Well, like I said, I had a little trick up my sleeve. Since you didn't vacate within 3 days, I went ahead and threw out all your stuff. Now, you can't just hide away in this house, so it's time to leave.
Thanks. I guess this is the end of your life.
Huh? Who do you think you are, acting all tough? Getting kicked out of the house means the end of your life, not mine. From now on, Jason and I are moving in together. So you, the shut-in parasite, better not come back.
Are you still saying that? Haven't you talked to my brother yet?
That man is way too soft on you. He keeps insisting the house belongs to you. But once he learns we're all set to move in right away after getting rid of your stuff, he'll stop favoring his little sister and start siding with me instead.
Well, I'll talk to my brother.
Oh, you've finally become very understanding.
Well, talking to you is pointless.
What on earth are you up to? Jason is talking about divorce. Your parents are furious with me.
Oh, Jason was really pissed off.
Why are you laughing? What did you tell him? You must have said something bad about me to turn your family against me. Take it all back now.
I just told them the truth. You're totally misunderstanding and overreacting. It's kind of funny.
What do you mean by misunderstanding? We were just trying to move into a house that will eventually be ours.
First off, that's where you're mistaken.
What's the misunderstanding? The house belongs to your father, right? You've renounced your inheritance, haven't you? Then it'll eventually belong to Jason.
This house is mine.
So for now, you're just borrowing it from your father, right? I don't understand why he'd even let you live in that house. You're just a bum.
This house is under my name.
Huh? He even changed the name?
You're so devious. I bought it.
Huh? There's no way someone like you could afford a house.
Well, originally I bought it as an office for my company. It was more like, instead of having it taken away in taxes, might as well buy an office kind of thinking.
Huh? What company? You're always cooped up at home playing games. Just an incompetent bum.
It's true that I'm always at home playing games, but I'm not a bum. That house serves as both my home and office. I run a game development company there.
You were doing that?
I mentioned it the other day, remember? It's the 5th anniversary of Black Cat World.
Huh? That's the game company? Not the game you're playing?
Well, I do enjoy playing games, but currently I'm more focused on the development side. I get your concerns about us being in the suburbs. Sometimes we have voice recording sessions and make noise with my team for our game. So living in a suburban house just works better for us than being in a crowded area.
So, you really own that house?
My brother says so, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Sorry? You think that's enough?
What do you mean? Can you talk about it with Jason?
Your marital issues are none of my business.
Are you okay with your brother going through a divorce?
I feel like you should consider divorce for my brother's sake. He's really upset and seems fully committed to divorcing. I'm okay with how things have turned out, moving out and all. But it's still a bit rough being pushed out because of him. And then there's you, misinterpreting everything, trying to take over my house. My brother must feel pretty responsible and annoyed about that.
I really consider you as my sister. We're family, right?
I don't see you as family.
I'm sorry for everything I've done. I'm really sorry. Forgive me.
Do you think that makes it okay?
Are you mad about throwing away your stuff? I'll replace them all if that's the case. Is that okay with you?
You can't even afford your own place to live, so how do you plan on replacing my things?
It's just a gaming merch or something, right? I can find them on eBay. Don't be stingy over small things. You're rich, right?
You can replace my belongings, sure. But I told you, it's also my office.
What do you mean?
There are expensive pieces of equipment that we use for work, and some of them were leased. Just the computer alone cost over $10,000, you know.
Computers can't be that expensive. At most, it should be around $5,000 at most.
And that's for personal PCs, right? My main work PC alone costs $25,000. If we exclude household items and focus solely on equipment, it would easily surpass $50,000.
What? You're not going to make me pay for that, right? You know, I don't have that kind of money, don't you?
Sure, we'll be sending the bill through the company. Our lawyer's taking care of that. As for personal belongings, I'll handle that part myself.
There's no way I can afford to pay that.
That's not all.
What is it now?
Thanks to you, we had to stop our operations for a few days. We'll be claiming damages for that too.
What's with just a few days? Talking about damages is over the top. Trying to squeeze every penny out of your sister-in-law? How greedy can you get?
A penny? Don't make me laugh. You have no idea how much my company makes each month, do you? We make about $70,000 monthly. The delay in a big event's implementation caused damages of around $30,000.
You know I can't afford that much. And if you're going to charge me, you're basically billing your brother too.
You're being presented with divorce now, aren't you?
I will never divorce your brother.
And tell my brother that.
What's that supposed to mean? You need to convince Jason too. I'm just a housewife. I don't have money if we divorce. I'll just file for bankruptcy. Then I won't have to pay.
If you intentionally cause harm to someone, that compensation won't be waived through bankruptcy.
I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Even if you declare bankruptcy, you still have to pay the compensation claim against you.
I've told you countless times I simply can't afford it.
Well, if that's the case, there's nothing I can do. But just so you know, there's a seizure waiting for you.
We're family, aren't we? You don't have to push me this far. You have no sense of compassion. That's why you'll always be single and unpopular.
You really tried to kick me out of my own home and still have the nerve to call me family?
That was a misunderstanding. I'm sorry. I apologize and forgive me.
Also, I'm getting married soon.
Huh? What? You're a hermit who never leaves the house. Where did you meet him?
He works as a programmer at my company, but that's beside the point. Honestly, it's not your concern. After all, you're headed to jail soon anyway.
What? Jail? What are you talking about?
Hannah, you broke the window and got into my house, right? That's trespassing.
But we're family. How is that trespassing?
It's a crime. We filed a damage report.
I didn't know that.
This is such a hassle. Well, why don't you explain it to the police then? But there's no way they'll buy that. Breaking in by smashing a window is just like what burglars do. How did you not see this coming?
So, am I going to be arrested? I don't want to go to jail.
Please reflect on your actions thoroughly.
I just wanted to live in a nice house. But being treated like this is too much.
I'm the one who wants to complain. Work is getting affected, and our supporters are starting to doubt us because of the event delay. I can't afford any more damage, so I'm going to block you.
Why?
As a business owner, it's not wise to be associated with criminals. So goodbye. Take some time to reflect on your actions in your cage.
Please, don't say that. You're not the kind of cold-hearted person who would send their sister-in-law to jail, are you? Hey, please help me.
After being arrested for theft and trespassing, Hannah narrowly avoided jail time. As a result of the trial, she was ordered to pay a total of $500,000 in damages. Despite her pleas for support, she found herself alone, with no one willing to help, not even her own parents and relatives. My company's game was quite well known, so Hannah's name became a big topic. She couldn't find regular work anymore and is now doing undisclosed jobs to make a living. While my company's performance was shaky for a while, with the support of my programmer boyfriend and our talented team, we bounced back. I recently got married, and now my husband and I are dedicated to creating captivating games together.